Today's episode is brought to you by FreedomProject Academy. Looking for a K-12 classical online school built on Judeo-Christian values? FPA is enrolling now for the fall. Request your free information packet at freedomforschool.com. That's freedom, F-O-R, school.com.
It's time to get educated on the craziness impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses around the world. This is the Dr. Duke Show.
Hi, and welcome. I'm Dr. Duke, joined by Mr. David Fiorazzo. Before we get started, just a quick reminder that our classical Judeo-Christian K-12 school is about to stop taking enrollments for the fall semester. Friday, the 22nd of July is the last day, and let me remind you, please listen to this, Mom. Remember last year, 2 weeks before school started, when all of a sudden the masks came back? Remember? Already in Washington, the teachers' unions are already hinting that it may happen again. Last year, we had a bunch of moms and dads who couldn't take our school at the end of August when they found out that the masks were coming back. It's going to come back again. Take a moment to look at Freedom Project Academy. Go to freedomforschool.com and see what we're all about. If you want to protect your kids, this is a great option. Again, the deadline to enroll in live classes is Friday the 22nd, so get moving. Okay, we start with a new report. Unbelievable. Centers for Disease Control, whose job is supposed to be infectious diseases, has become completely woke with your and my tax dollars. They are now promoting a youth online chat room, one that a kid can hit a green bar and immediately hide what he's doing from his parents. This website, which is called Q Chat Space, is quickly hidden from parents, that discusses sex change operations, activism, and listen to this, even promotes occult practices. Seriously, Dave.
Well, I want to mention this part of the story because that's what my eye was drawn to, that completely immediately. There are chats on astrology, including self-discovery in astrology, and one titled Queering Tarot. You know, tarot cards, a reference to tarot cards commonly used in occult practices. And it says the sexually, politically, and even spiritually charged material is intermixed with content that appeals to young children, such as conversations on video games, Pokemon, and Star Wars. This is just incredible to me because there's so much going on here in this gender-affirming surgeries, the conversations on gender-affirming surgeries in this Q chat. I think, Duke, you can explain, you alluded to this earlier, that you can do this anonymously and you can escape before anybody finds out you're on the site.
If you see that green bar at the bottom, it says click tap here for quick escape. It's literally guiding children how to immediately, if your mom walks into the room, to get out of this so mom cannot see it. And that occult stuff that you mentioned, Dave, is really interesting to me because this is a religion. This is paganism is a theology of sorts. And what you're doing is you're using our taxpayer money to inculcate kids with this anti-Christian form of paganism. It's not religiously neutral. It is pushing a worldview. Again, I remind you that this program is called Q Chat Space. It's a platform advertised on the CDC's LGBT Health Youth Resources page. That chat service, which describes itself as, quote, a community for LGBTQ teens, is available for children as young as 13 years old, between the ages of 13 and 19, and it can be hidden from parents and focuses on a number of mature themes. Among the ones that Dave had mentioned, others include drag queen culture, sex relationships, multiple genders, bi and pansexual youth, one that celebrates RuPaul's Drag Race, while another is called Queer Youth Activism. So it's not just about catering and providing information, hiding that information from kids. It turns kids into political activists. So let me repeat this. Not only are they using our taxpayer dollars, the CDC, to promote the occult, anti-Christian religion, but they're also doing this now, turning your kids into political activists. Both counts. using federal dollars to politicize children and to indoctrinate them in alternative religions. Both of that seems to be remarkably anti-constitution.
Okay, I've got a fascinating section here in this article at Breitbart. It says, an academic article about QChat published on the National Library of Medicine website praised the service for its ability to be hidden from parents, saying that the platform's chat-based nature likely helps youth avoid concerns about family members accidentally overhearing their conversations. So, but Duke, back to the fact that the CDC is promoting this. What do they have in this game?
Well, they're claiming, as the progressive left always does, that this is a matter of health, right? That convincing kids that they might be gay, helping kids hide whatever their sexuality is from their parents, this divide between parents and children, this is health, right? The idea is that parents are too stupid and too bigoted to understand this. So we're going to cut them out and show how kids to do this. As a matter of fact, going a little bit further what you just said, but while the chats are designed to be hidden from parents, one chat session was called Finding Chosen Family. In other words, your family isn't really your family. You're just tied to them by biology.
So the family you were assigned at birth
is wrong. Right? You are assigned, just like you're assigned to gender, you're assigned to family. And so we'll help you find your chosen family, who inevitably will be radical left activists.
That's right. One more thing, though. At the bottom of the article, we talked about this yesterday on yesterday's show. QChat is run in part by Planned Parenthood. So they're working with the CDC, the LGBTQ, and all these other hypersexual organizations and entities, and this is just all seemingly coming together with the usual culprits.
Yeah, and once again, Mom and Dad, I hope you understand the degree to which global forces are working to take your children away from you, to mitigate your ability to oversee them, and to compromise your patriotism and your faith. It is real. This is not a conspiracy anymore. It's obvious and it's out there.
With all the censorship taking place on social media platforms, we've made it easy to keep up with your favorite content. Simply download the Freedom Project Media app in your app store. Get access to 18 new videos a week, plus thousands of archived shows, lecture series, and educational animations. Download the Freedom Project Media app on your Apple TV, Roku, tablet, or phone, and make sure you allow for notifications to keep you informed.
Have you ever been to North Carolina? Okay, seriously, this next story is possibly one of the more disturbing stories I've commented on since I've been helping in part with the Dr. Duke show here with Duke and Katie. This is really amazing. Over at Red State, university offers map marking where gay students have gathered for sexual trysts. First of all, Duke, what's a tryst?
It's a hookup, Dave. If you weren't so old in the wrong generation, who knows? Do they even call it hookup culture anymore? I don't know. But it is inevitably a hookup. It's a random sexual encounter with no other purpose except to have sex.
So the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is hosting a history exposition indicating, among other things, where sneakers used to gather on and around campus for gay sex. Duke, sneakers?
Now that's what I haven't heard before myself. Sneakers, I guess that would mean people who have to hide their sexual behavior. And let me just go back to what we're talking about here. So they're doing this for two reasons, North Carolina activists. One is to go back 20, 30, 40 years and gather information. They literally sent this out to alumni. Gay alumni are actually sending in stories about where on the campus they engaged in gay sex in public places. And all those things are being mapped and charted. And what you're basically telling, and there's the map, and all those blue dots there, they're the places where people have had illicit gay public sex And that's the first thing. This is this is creating gay history, right? And you think about this. When you talk about gay history, this is a great achievement in gay culture. All the places on college campuses where you participated in gay sex publicly. This is the kind of history that they want to brag about, they want to promote it. And the second purpose of all of this is to tip current gay North Carolina kids where they can go, encouraging them, pushing them, recommending for them. You can go to these places on our campus and have gay sex too, and guess what? There'll be no penalty, there'll be no consequence. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll have other people watch and convert more people to the gay cause, because this is such a wonderful thing. And I don't ever remember, do you ever remember posting guides back before the gay revolution, posting signs and placards and looking for ways that heterosexual kids had public sex on? I don't remember that. Do you remember that?
Nope.
In fact, that would have been seen as bad and wrong and something that had to be policed, but not anymore.
So a couple of places, a few marked locations, and by those who went to these places apparently, Fetzer Gym, finding support amongst teammates. Also Woolen Gym, being competitive in the gay world. Granville Towers, being otherized. The Electric Company, Chapel Hill's Gay Bar, 1960s. Hinton James Dormitory, South Campus. Peabody Hall. If anybody in this county ever finds out, your behind will be out of here faster than you can blink. That's what someone wrote in 1995. Kitty Hawk Tavern in a place called the Tea Room, Wilson Library, basement tea room. Now a tea room, I learned this too by reading this article, is a public men's restroom used specifically for homosexual activity. That's a tea room. So
if I may,
ahead.
Dave.
Yep.
Notice how the progressive left thinks. Here's a quote, all right? Our job is we're deeply committed to amplifying the voices of the LGBTQIA experience. So what gay history means is where you've had sex. That's about the best you can do. Talking about this idea here, right? That gay people go to libraries to have sex, not to read books, not to study. Notice how I've said this before on the Dr. Duke Show. When the progressive left sees gay and trans culture, they only see physical sex. The anatomy, the performance, the accomplishment of sexual contact. That's what they reduce there's no human dignity here. This isn't about uplifting gay culture or talking about its historical, intellectual contributions to world culture. No, it's about people meeting up to have random sex. That's about the best this culture has to offer.
Yep. And I don't think this ever would have been accepted, as you said, heterosexually, with a man and a woman doing this and advertising where you can, 25 years ago. Anyway, there's also ads for a LGBTQ cruises and resorts. And you know what happens there. This is just really sad to me. My heart, I have to be honest with you guys, I know some of you watching going, man, can we get any lower? My heart kind of sank when I read this because it's so depraved. And they are proud. That's why they had Pride Month. They're so proud of these accomplishments of meeting for public sex that they want to boast about it. And this is just really a sad state of our culture
today. Seems to me the defining self-statement for the LGBTQ group is orgasming. That's the highest thing you can shoot for.
Today's show is sponsored by our friends at MyPillow. Save up to 66% on all items at MyPillow.com when you use the code Dr. Duke. That's DRDUKE. Support this show by supporting a great American company.
All right, keeping with the same theme, sadly, we've got an article over at Campus Reform, LGBTQ plus rights and the Constitution. You're going, what? Well, that's a new course that's coming to campuses this fall. Students who take the class will study the historical and legal development of equal treatment for members of the LGBTQ plus community, as well as ongoing controversies and conflicts of rights. And this is coming. It's not just one school, I would bet. So the course will also explore, quote, the clash between LGBTQ plus rights and other fundamental rights, such as freedom of association and free exercise of religion, and the future of equality. There you go. Now, what we're looking at right here, to me, Duke, that looks like a gay communist fist with, I guess they got peace. No, that's not the peace sign. That's the LGBTQ sex sign. But this is what they're going to be studying. This is actually a course, LGBTQ plus rights and the Constitution. Dr. Wendy Watson.
Yeah, throw that back up there real quick, Mike. Notice the idea here. This always amazes me because lesbians and gay people can't have babies. Notice how abortion has become a integral part of the alternative lifestyle. We will explore the evolution of the legal foundations of LGBTQ rights that clash. Dave already mentioned that, but look at the last sentence. Is the opinion in Obergefell, Hodges, vulnerable in the next SCOTUS term? So in other words, can we as non-childbearing gay people, can we actually reverse Roe versus Wade? And I love this because the left only cares about the Constitution when they can tie it to more rights for their constituency groups, right? The Constitution is a racist document, has to be gotten rid of. Evil white men who own slaves. But when we're talking about finding a nook for even greater rights for gay people, then suddenly the Constitution is something they want to take very seriously.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about Wendy Watson, the professor. She's actually in that picture. It's kind of hard to tell. She's apparently got purplish pink hair. She's a senior lecturer and pre-law advisor at University of North Texas. And she'll teach the course. Former president of UNT's Young Conservatives of Texas claimed that Dr. Watson protested a YCT event that advocated banning gender transition surgery for children. So here's the person that's going to teach this particular course, Wendy Watson, advocated for did I read that right? Banning gender transition surgery for children. So it's a little confusing to me, Duke, the controversy around this reported on by Campus Reform.
Yeah, this is really frustrating. Just like with Christianity, the left learned long ago, and that includes the LGBT mafia, they learned long enough ago that they're not going to be able to get rid of Christianity and its influence, but what they could do is co-opt it. We saw just this past week, the Church of England, the Anglican Church, which really isn't a Christian church anymore, by the way, they decided that they could no longer in good conscience define the name woman, the word woman, despite the entire Bible, they couldn't do it. And so the left figured out that rather than trying to get rid of Christianity, they have been very successful in co-opting it. They're doing the same thing with the Constitution. They now know, because of what just happened at the Supreme Court, they're not getting rid of the Constitution anytime soon. So what they're going to do is they're going to twist it into all sorts of LGBTQ pretzel knots to justify unconstitutional behavior, attitudes, and things like forcing children who are too young to decide for themselves to undergo all kinds of transgender surgeries. Pretty creepy.
I just have to clear one thing up. I wasn't clear when I was explaining this about Dr. Watson, Wendy Watson. She actually protested an event that advocated banning gender transition surgery for children. So if you flip that, what is she for? Dr. Watson apparently promotes or supports gender transition surgery for children, because she protested at an event that was to ban that. So she supports this, which is really not surprising. It all goes together. All right, well, education content is always the primary focus of this show. Before we go, let's leave you with some other stories that are worthy of a comment or two. And let's start with Amazon. As the company says, it will soon roll out a new feature that will allow users to reprogram Alexa's voice. But here, this is an interesting thing. The company says instead of Alexa's normal voice reciting the words of your favorite novel, users will soon be able to program anyone's voice into the system, even a deceased person or a grandmother or someone that's not around anymore. Watch this.
Let's take a look on one of the new capabilities we are working on, which enables lasting personal relationships.
Alexa, can Grandma finish reading me The Wizard of Oz?
Okay. But how about my courage? Asked the lion anxiously. You have plenty of courage, I am sure, answered Oz. All you need is confidence in yourself.
It's interesting on some level, creepy on another, but Amazon says the new technology simply needs to hear a single minute of anyone's voice to capture, synthesize, and repeat anything back. Now, of course, some people have brought up valid concerns of how this kind of technology could be used for more nefarious activities like stealing identities or breaking into accounts. Is that what you're thinking, Duke?
I'm thinking something a little bit different. It's amazing to me that how Siri's voice, which was always female, right? We've seen this from the beginning, Alexa too. It's amazing that for a company named after Amazons, a tribe of actual women and no men, it's amazing how Amazon is complicit in trying to erase female everything. Maybe they should stop calling themselves Amazon.
Well, speaking of bringing back things beyond the grave, a Washington, D.C. neighborhood wants to rededicate an iconic street in the city's DuPont Circle neighborhood in honor of the world's first drag queen. A resolution has been made to rename Swan Street, which spans 5 city blocks, in honor of William Dorsey Swan, a former slave who lived in Washington and was the first person to self-identify as a queen of drag. The resolution notes that Swan ran a secret social group called House of Swan that organized balls for formerly enslaved men where attendees would gather to dance and cross-dress. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser has, of course, expressed support for the resolution. The current namesake of the street is purported to be Thomas Swan, who served as mayor of Baltimore and governor of Maryland in the 1850s and 60s. I know you want to talk
I'm just chomping at the bit here. So we go back to the first story we did where we pointed out that it seems the high point of gay culture is having sex. Now look at this. What does it take to get a city block named after yourself? Put on women's clothes. Not winning a war, not becoming a president, not becoming a governor. No, all you got to do is put on women's clothes, and according to the LGBTQ, that qualifies you as a great hero of Western culture. Could our expectations for that community be any lower?
So sad. But finally, let's head north to my wife's homeland, Canada, as soy boy Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has solved the world's problems by banning plastic straws. Starting in December, Canada will officially ban plastic straws, cutlery, plastic stir sticks, grocery bags, and ring carriers. The Minister of Environment and Climate Change says, quote, businesses will begin offering the sustainable solutions Canadians want, whether that's paper straws or reusable bags. With these new regulations, we're taking a historic step forward in reducing plastic pollution and keeping our communities and the places we love clean. Similar initiatives have passed throughout the United States. Philadelphia started enforcing its plastic bag ban earlier this year, while San Francisco has prohibited plastic straws and cutlery since 2019. Duke, the paper straw.
Joe Rogan is exactly right. Canada is a communist country, and Trudeau is a dictator.
Yep.
Granted, not a terribly masculine one, but I guess women can be dictators too.
That's right. And that wraps up this segment. More to come next time.
And that does it for this show. Once again, our classical school is wrapping up enrollment for fall on Friday, July 22nd. You have a few days to avoid what very well may be masks in the fall. Go to freedomforschool.com. That's freedomforschool.com to get started. For all of us here at Freedom Project, as always, we hope you stay educated.